At my sister's wedding, I was seated in the corridor, so I spoke up. What happened next changed everything. The ocean breeze greets me as I step out of my car at the gates of the Seaside Manor, a sprawling Cape Cod estate where my younger sister Sophie's wedding is about to unfold. The air carries the scent of salt and blooming hydrangeas, and the late afternoon sun glints off the manor's white columns and glass-walled banquet hall. I smooth the folds of my emerald dress, the only one I own that feels right for an event this grand, and force a smile. I'm Clara Hayes, 31, a graphic designer from Boston, here to play the role I've always played. The supportive older sister, the one who shows up, claps, and fades into the background. I'm not here to steal Sophie's spotlight. But as I walk through the manicured gardens toward the entrance, a familiar ache settles in my chest. I've never been the favored child, and I've made peace with that, or so I thought. A staff member in a crisp black vest opens the heavy glass door, and I step into the foyer, my heels clicking on the marble floor. The space hums with anticipation. Floral arrangements tower on every table, and soft violin music drifts from the banquet hall. A young woman at the reception desk flashes a polished smile. "Name, please?" she asks, her pen poised over a leather-bound guest list. "Clara Hayes," I say, keeping my voice steady. Her smile flickers, just for a second, as her eyes scan the list. Her fingers flip through the pages, pausing, then flipping again. "Ah, here you are," she says, her tone overly bright. "You're seated in the corridor area just outside the main hall near the service entrance." I blink, the words not quite sinking in. "The corridor? Sorry, could you check again?" She glances at the seating chart on the desk, then back at me, her smile tightening. "No mistake, Ms. Hayes, that's your assigned spot." My throat tightens and a slow burn creeps up my chest. I glance at the chart, my eyes catching the names at the head table. Mr. and Mrs. George Hayes, my parents, alongside Sophie's best friends and her fiancé's colleagues. The main hall's chandeliers sparkle through the open doors, promising elegance and warmth. My name, Clara Hayes, is nowhere inside. "There must be an error," I say, my voice low, clinging to composure. "I'm the bride's sister." The receptionist's eyes soften, but her words are firm. "I'm sorry. This is the arrangement we were given." I force a nod, my fingers clutching the strap of my purse. "It's just a seat," I tell myself. "A mix-up. A last-minute oversight," but the burn in my chest says otherwise. I turn toward the banquet hall, spotting my mother, Lillian, fussing over Sophie's ivory gown. Sophie's laughing, her veil catching the light, while Lillian beams like she's never been prouder. I take a breath and approach, my voice measured. "Mom, can I talk to you for a second?" Lillian barely glances at me, her hands still adjusting Sophie's train. "Not now, Clara. We're busy." "It's quick." I press, my heart sinking. She sighs, stepping aside with a huff. Sophie turns, her smile sharp, not warm. "What's wrong?" she asks, her tone implying I'm already a nuisance. "I've been seated in the corridor," I say, keeping my eyes on Lillian. "Outside the hall, is that right?" Lillian shrugs, as if I've asked about the weather. "We had to prioritize Sophie's close circle, Clara. You know how it is." "Close circle?" My voice wavers, but I hold her gaze. "I'm her sister." Sophie cuts in, her voice syrupy. "It's probably just a mix-up, Clara. Don't make a big deal out of it." Lillian's expression hardens. "Don't ruin your sister's day, Clara. Be grateful you're here." Grateful. The word lands like a stone, heavy and cold. I look at them, my mother, my sister, their faces a united front of dismissal, and feel something shift inside me. I've spent years swallowing their slights, but this feels different, sharper. I force a smile, empty and tight, and turn away, my heels echoing in the foyer. The place card in my hand, Clara Hayes, corridor table, feels like proof I've never truly belonged. And as I step into the corridor, the weight of that truth settles deeper than I ever expected. The hum of the wedding fades as I stand in the corridor, the place card, Clara Hayes, corridor table, still clutched in my hand. The Cape Cod estate's opulence feels distant, like a world I'm not meant to touch. My emerald dress catches the dim light of a sconce, and I close my eyes. The sting of Lillian's words, "Be grateful you're here," pulling me back to a lifetime of being the unseen daughter. I'm Clara Hayes, 31, a graphic designer who spent years designing logos and layouts for others while my own story was pushed to the margins. As the violin music drifts through the banquet hall doors, memories flood in, sharp and unyielding of a childhood and young adulthood spent in Sophie's shadow. I was 15, living in our cramped Boston duplex when I first realized I was different. Sophie, 4 years younger, was the golden child, her drawings pinned on the fridge, her school plays attended by both Lillian and George. I was the independent one, the one who didn't need fussing over. I'd come home from school, my backpack heavy with art supplies, to find Lillian baking Sophie's favorite lemon bars. My sketches, tucked in a folder, went unnoticed. One evening, while Sophie was at a sleepover, I found a journal in Lillian's dressier, its leather cover worn but elegant. I opened it, expecting family memories, maybe a note about me. Instead, every page was Sophie. Sophie's first ballet recital, how she twirled like a fairy. Sophie's fear of the dark, conquered with a nightlight Lillian bought. Sophie's 10th birthday, when she got a watercolor set. I scanned every line, my heart sinking. My name, Clara, wasn't there, not once. When I asked Lillian about it, my voice small, she smiled lightly. "You've always been fine on your own, Clara." Sophie's sensitive. She needs me to remember her. That moment cracked something in me, but I kept going. I worked at a cafe through high school, saving for a used tablet to practice digital art. At 19, I got into a design program at Emerson College, scraping by on scholarships and late-night shifts. Sophie, meanwhile, got a new easel for her art phase, paid for by my parents, and once by me when I sent $300 for her summer art classes. Lillian called it a family effort, but I was the only one who paid. When I landed my first big client, a Boston startup at 25, I rushed home to share the news. At dinner, Sophie talked about her latest gallery show and George clapped her on the back. My promotion? Lillian nodded and said, "That's nice, Clara, but could you drive Sophie to her exhibit tomorrow?" Family events were the same. Birthdays, Thanksgivings, Christmases. I was there, smiling, helping with dishes, while Sophie soaked up the spotlight. At my high school graduation, Lillian was late because Sophie had a stomach ache. At my 30th birthday, a quiet dinner I planned, Sophie arrived with a new boyfriend, and the night became about her. I swallowed it all, telling myself it was just how families worked. I loved Sophie, even if it hurt. I loved Lillian and George, even if they didn't see me. So when Sophie's wedding invitation arrived, I said yes without hesitation. I bought the emerald dress, spent hours designing a custom card for her gift, and drove to Cape Cod hoping, just this once, they'd make room for me. But standing here in this corridor with its faint smell of cleaning polish, I see the truth I've avoided for years. Lillian's journal wasn't a one-time oversight. Sophie's art classes weren't a shared burden. My place outside the banquet hall isn't a mistake. It's a message. I've been the invisible daughter, the one they expect to show up, smile, and ask for nothing. The place card feels heavier now, its cursive script a quiet indictment. I came to celebrate Sophie, to be the sister I've always been. But as the music swells and the banquet hall doors stay closed to me, I wonder if I've been chasing a family that never wanted me at all. The corridor's dim light casts long shadows on the marble floor, and the place card, Clara Hayes, corridor table, burns in my hand like a brand. The Cape Cod estate's grandeur feels like a cruel joke, the violin music from the banquet hall mocking my exclusion. I'm Clara Hayes, 31, and the sting of Lillian's words, "Be grateful you're here," mixes with a lifetime of being sidelined. I can't let this pass. Not this time. I take a deep breath, smooth my emerald dress, and march back toward the banquet hall, my heels clicking with purpose. The doors are ajar, revealing Sophie's radiant smile as she poses for photos, Lillian fussing over her veil. I step forward, my voice steady but firm. "Mom, we need to talk. Now." Lillian turns, her face tightening with annoyance. "Sophie, can you manage?" she asks, as if I'm an interruption. Sophie nods, her smile sharp, and Lillian steps toward me, arms crossed. "What is it, Clara?" "I've been seated in the corridor," I say, holding her gaze. "Outside the hall, by the service entrance. I'm your daughter, not a stranger." "Why?" Lillian sighs, like I've asked something trivial. "We had to prioritize Sophie's close circle, Clara. The hall only fits so many. Close circle?" My voice shakes, but I keep it low. "I'm her sister. Your daughter. Sophie glides over, her gown rustling, her tone syrupy. Oh, Clara, it's just a seat. Don't make a scene on my day. It's not about the seat, Sophie, I say, my chest burning. It's about being treated like I don't matter. Again. Lillian's eyes narrow. Don't ruin this for your sister. You should be thankful you were invited. Thankful? The word cuts deeper than I expect, and I clench my fists to keep from shaking. Before I can respond, a voice interrupts. Clara? I turn to see Nathan, the groom, in a tailored tux, his tie slightly askew. Beside him stands Evelyn, his mother, her navy gown elegant, her eyes sharp. Can we talk? Nathan asks. Glancing at Sophie, then back at me, I nod, confused, and follow them to a small conference room off the foyer. Sophie and Lillian trail behind, Sophie's confidence faltering. Inside, the air feels heavy, the hum of the AC the only sound. Evelyn closes the door and hands Nathan a phone. He swipes the screen, his jaw tightening. Clara, he says, his voice low. Has Sophie ever said anything about me that seemed off? I hesitate, Sophie's taunts over the years flashing through my mind. She's always been controlling, I say carefully, but I thought it was just family stuff. Evelyn speaks, her tone cutting. We found messages. Sophie's been texting her friend about manipulating Nathan, controlling his finances, making him dependent after the wedding. She even consulted a divorce lawyer last month. Nathan holds up a white envelope, his hand steady. This is an annulment petition, Sophie. I've signed it. The room freezes. Lillian gasps, her hand flying to her mouth. Sophie steps back, her face paling. You're joking, she says, her voice high. Those were just texts, not serious. Evelyn's laugh is cold. And the divorce consultation? A joke too? Sophie's eyes dart to me, venomous. This is your fault, Clara. You've always been jealous, stirring up trouble. I meet her gaze, calm but unyielding. I didn't write your messages, Sophie. You did. The doors to the banquet hall are still open, and Evelyn gestures toward them. Let's finish this where it started. We step into the reception, the music faltering as guests turn, sensing the shift. Sophie, disheveled, storms to the center, her voice echoing. You think you can humiliate me? I planned every detail of this day, and you're ruining it over a few stupid texts. Nathan steps forward, his voice clear. No one ruined you, Sophie. You did that yourself. Evelyn faces the crowd, her presence commanding. Sophie never wanted to be part of our family. She wanted what we had. Her messages prove it. Sophie spins toward me, tears streaming. Clara's been jealous her whole life, trying to drag me down. I step forward, my voice quiet but firm. I don't need to drag you down, Sophie. The truth speaks for itself. The room holds its breath. Nathan holds up the annulment envelope, and Evelyn places a hand on his shoulder. Let's go, she says. They turn, leaving Sophie alone under the chandeliers, her facade shattered. I look at Lillian, then George, who's just entered, his face heavy. I don't wait for their words. I walk out, my heart pounding but lighter. I've spent years begging to belong. Now, I'm done trying. A week after Sophie's wedding, I wake in my Boston apartment. The morning light filtering through mismatched curtains. The silence is soft, unbroken by the buzz of my phone or the echo of Sophie's venomous words. My small living room, cluttered with sketchbooks and half-finished design mock-ups, feels like a sanctuary. I'm Clara Hayes, 31, and for the first time, I'm living without the weight of a family that never saw me. The Cape Cod estate, with its glittering chandeliers and cruel seating chart, feels like a distant memory. But the truth it revealed, Sophie's betrayal, Lillian's dismissal, my own resolve, still lingers, sharp and clear. My days have a new rhythm, one I'm carving out for myself. I brew coffee in a chipped mug and sit by the window, sketching ideas for a freelance project, a logo for a local bookstore. In the afternoons, I walk along the Charles River, the water reflecting the early autumn sky, my pencil scratching in a sketchbook instead of answering Lillian's texts. My phone, tucked in a drawer, has been lighting up with her calls, 10 in 3 days, each one unanswered. I don't need her rehearsed apologies or promises to make things right. I've heard them before, and they've always been empty. My bank account, once drained by Sophie's art classes or Lillian's emergencies, is steady now, and I've bought a train ticket to Maine, a trip I've dreamed of for years, but never allowed myself. It's a small rebellion, but it feels like claiming a piece of my life back. Still, the silence isn't always peaceful. At night, when the city hum fades, guilt creeps in. I sprawl on my couch, the springs creaking, and wonder if I was too harsh. Sophie's world collapsed, her marriage annulled, her lies exposed in front of everyone. Lillian and George might be grappling with their role in it all, and I've shut them out. What if they need me? What if I've burned a bridge I can't rebuild? Sophie's voice haunts me. Clara's been jealous her whole life. Lillian's cold justification. We had to prioritize Sophie's close circle. I try to shake it off, to remember the journal with no mention of me, the $300 I sent for Sophie's classes. The corridor seat meant to keep me invisible. But guilt doesn't need reason. It's a quiet ache, whispering that I've abandoned the only family I have. My phone buzzes again, and I pull it from the drawer. A voicemail from George, my father, his name a rare sight on the screen. I hesitate, then play it, his voice rough and slow. Clara, I'm not good with this stuff. That day at the wedding, when you spoke up, I saw how we've let you down. Your mother's struggling with it, but I know we were wrong. I'm sorry. I don't expect you to call back, but I needed to say it. The message ends, and I sit still, my throat tight. It's the first time he's ever apologized, and it stirs something. Gratitude, maybe, but not forgiveness. Not yet. I've spent years chasing their approval, and I can't go back to that girl who begged to be seen. I stand and walk to my desk, where the main ticket sits next to my sketchbook. I open the book, my fingers tracing a half-finished drawing of the Charles River, its lines bold and free. This is mine. My art, my time, my future. The guilt still lingers, a shadow I can't fully shake. I know cutting ties might mean losing them forever, that Lillian's calls might stop, that George's apology might be the last I hear. But I've given enough, and if they're adrift now, it's because they pushed me away. I tuck the ticket into my purse and start packing. A sweater, a notebook, a pencil case. Maine is waiting, and for the first time, I'm choosing me, not them. The train to Maine hums beneath me, its rhythmic clatter blending with the soft rustle of my sketchbook as I draw. The window frames a blur of autumn trees, their leaves a patchwork of crimson and gold, and the salty scent of the coast creeps in through a cracked vent. I'm Clara Hayes, 31, a graphic designer from Boston, and for the first time in years, I'm traveling for myself, not to fix a family crisis or play the invisible sister at Sophie's wedding. My pencil moves across the page, sketching the outline of a rocky shoreline inspired by the Maine coast I'll see tomorrow. The Cape Cod wedding, with its humiliating corridor seat and Sophie's unraveling, feels like a lifetime ago, but its lessons are etched in me. I've never truly belonged with them, and that's okay. Looking back, I see the shape of my life with a clarity I didn't have before. For years, I chased a place in my family, believing if I was good enough, quiet, helpful, always there, they'd see me. I paid for Sophie's art classes, smiled through Lillian's dismissals, stood on the sidelines while George praised Sophie's every move. But the wedding laid it bare. The corridor seat, Lillian's cold, "Be grateful you're here," Sophie's smug taunts. The journal I found years ago, filled with Sophie's milestones and none of mine, wasn't a fluke. It was a truth I'd ignored. When Nathan and Evelyn exposed Sophie's lies, her plans to manipulate Nathan, her divorce consultation before the vows, my world shifted. I didn't just walk away from a wedding. I walked away from a family that never made room for me. Guilt still tugs at me, especially in quiet moments like this. I lean against the train window, my sketchbook resting on my lap, and wonder if I was too absolute. Sophie's life imploded, her marriage annulled, her facade shattered in front of hundreds. Lillian's calls unanswered might stop forever. George's apology, rough but real, sits heavy. I know we were wrong. What if they're struggling and I'm the one who turned away? Sophie's accusation, Clara's been jealous her whole life, echoes, trying to seed doubt. But I push it back. I gave them years, swallowed slights, emptied my wallet and heart. Their choices, Lillian's favoritism, Sophie's deceit, George's silence, built this distance, not me. The cost of my choice might be a permanent rift, but staying would have cost me more, my sense of self. I flip to a new page in my sketchbook and start a fresh drawing, a lighthouse against a stormy sea, its beam cutting through the dark. It's a design for me, not a client, a reminder of the strength I found in Cape Cod. Booking this main trip was a leap, a promise to prioritize my own dreams. I've spent too long framing my life around a family that kept me outside the picture. George's voicemail was a start, but it's not enough to pull me back. I need space to build a life where I'm not the afterthought. I pause, my pencil hovering, and think of you, whoever's reading this. Have you ever felt like an outsider in your own family? Been called selfish for wanting to be seen? Did you ever walk away and wonder if it was right? I chose myself, but sometimes I lie awake asking if I'll regret it. If one day Lillian's number won't light up my phone, if Sophie rebuilds without me. I don't have all the answers, but I'd love to hear yours. Tell me, did I do the right thing? Knowing I'm not alone might light the path ahead. The train slows, and I look out at the Maine coast, its waves crashing against jagged rocks. I tuck my sketchbook away, next to a folded family photo, me, half hidden behind Sophie's bright smile. I don't need to burn it or cling to it. It's just a moment, not my future. The ocean stretches wide, endless, and I feel a quiet peace settle in. I'm Clara, and for now, this journey, my pencil, my dreams, this horizon is enough.